Hey, welcome into DomTime. Two great guests tonight on different sides of an issue, or at least giving us a lot of good information on both sides. Coming off the Zimmerman case, a lot of attention to stand your ground laws, and I think a lot of people were amazed that in Pennsylvania we have a version of it, the expansion of the so-called Castle Doctrine. Shira Goodman with us from Ceasefire, Pennsylvania, Jonathan Goldstein, who's a firearms attorney out in Montgomery County. Jonathan, there's enough business, there's enough stuff where that's your practice. Every time we build that, that there's so many cases, so much stuff going on that you have enough clients and you instruct with the NRA, et cetera.
So state and federal laws regarding firearms are immensely complex, and there are a lot of law-abiding people out there who are really struggling to comply. The state police have gotten very aggressive about going and getting old sets of records and loading those into their databases. And you know, you have people, I'll get a phone call from somebody who had stole a case of beer when they were 19 years old in 1959, and it was a $3 or $4 or $5 item, but at the time that was a felony. And suddenly the state police will say, you know, you're a prohibited person, you can't buy a gun. These people are trying real hard to comply and need this stuff untangled for them. That's what I do.
Shira, I asked right before the break, New Jersey versus Pennsylvania. Boy, the two states connected by the border, Admiral Wilson Boulevard right there. One we go over to buy alcohol, the other we come over to buy guns. I assume Ceasefire likes what they do in New Jersey more, would like to see Pennsylvania more like that?
I mean, New Jersey is some of the strictest laws.
Right.
You know, Pennsylvania doesn't. Jonathan will tell you there's all kinds of laws, but you know, Jonathan just talked about training, all that great training. You don't have to do any of that to buy a gun. There's no waiting period to buy a gun. There's no limit on how many guns you can buy. There's no limit on what type of guns you can buy.
Which is all good because you're exercising a right. You can't. There's no limit on the number of newspapers you can buy or how many churches you can be a member of either.
Yes, but there is a limit that I can be a member of a church, but we can't sacrifice children as part of that. That's a reasonable limitation. There's search and seizures that we're protected from, but there's exigent circumstances. So just like our other constitutional rights, the Supreme Court has made clear that there can be reasonable regulations. So
and we have those reasonable regs. We don't need more.
I disagree. I think we could expand background checks. I think we could have mandatory lost or stolen reporting.
How much further would you expand background checks? You've already got a background check in Pennsylvania. Every handgun, every time, whether it's a private sale or through a dealer, requires a background check, except between husbands and wives and when the other sends.
Make it the same thing for long guns. Every gun.
But long guns aren't even used in these crimes.
Sure, they're used enough. I mean, they're still between 6 and 10% of murders. In domestic violence murders, they go way up. Lots of police officers shot by long guns, shotguns, and semi-automatics. So, I mean, they kill people. That you can be used in crime, they are. They're used less.
Okay, well let's move forward and let's talk now projecting in the future. Where we are right now, there's going to be massive rallies still going on in Florida, et cetera, nationwide. Stand your ground, and maybe even Pennsylvania laws like this in Pennsylvania. What do you see happening the next 6 months? What's Ceasefire doing? What are the other groups doing on your side of it?
I mean, we're trying to educate people. We want people to know, again, that Stand Your Ground did play a role in Florida and what it is here in Pennsylvania. Because I think, like you said, a lot of people don't know. It passed in 2011. Right. It was signed very quickly. I think a lot of people don't know. So we're doing education. There's other things that we're working on. We are working on the background check bill. There was a hearing in Harrisburg last week about the background check system, what's good about it, what could be better. I think that we're having a conversation in Pennsylvania that hasn't been had for a long time about, do we have good sane gun laws? Are there things we could do better? You know, people like Jonathan and I need to talk to each other.
And we do, by the way.
Exactly.
We do.
Okay, well,
know that.
mentioned conversation. Let's bring a caller into DomTime. Linda in Philadelphia is with Jonathan and Shira. Go right ahead, Linda.
Hi, yes. My name is Linda, and I'm calling from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I do not agree with your stand your ground laws because there's criminals that could just have a grudge and really just be out to kill somebody, and because it'll be between just those two, after they kill that person, they can always make up any story to fit the circumstances to make it look like they had to kill somebody.
Okay, stay with us, Linda. Jonathan, that's one of the criticisms. Seth Williams, DA in Philadelphia, told me that. There was fear of gun gangs. They'll go and get a guy, they'll assassinate a guy, and they'll say it's stand your ground.
But it's not happening. I mean, we've had this law for 2 years, and it's not happening. Mostly it's a law, if it's used, by people who are entitled to self-defense, and it's been non-controversial. You haven't seen an article anywhere, you know, by the Inquirer saying, look at the number of times that someone's been executed and this has been used as a defense.
Linda, I'd have to say, 2 years now with the law in the books, this expanded in Pennsylvania, we have not seen a case like this that you're talking about.
Can I respond?
Yes, go right ahead, Linda.
Okay, the reason why, that's like I said, it'll be one person dead and the other person who lived to make the story fit the circumstances, and that's probably why it hasn't been exposed as what you just said. It hasn't showed that. You know what I'm trying to say?
I respect the caller's position.
Linda's right. I mean, in those cases, one person can't talk, one person may or may not talk. I mean, that's why those cases are so difficult.
But it's not happening here in Pennsylvania. I respect her view, but it's not happening here.
But we also didn't need this.
Parting question.
Not only isn't it happening, we did not need this law because the other cases
you
are
did
happening.
30 seconds each. Your wish list, tell us in the next 6 months to a year, on your side of it, what do you want to see done here in Pennsylvania?
What I want to see is complexity lowered, and I want to see it made easier for lawful gun owners to comply with the law. I would like all the laws published in one place. I would like them simplified. I would like vagueness removed, and I would like it just to be made easier for people who want to comply to do so.
Would you agree with that? That seems common sense.
I don't disagree with those things. What I would prioritize as well is some added safeguards that do work to prevent gun violence, keep illegal guns off the street and out of the wrong hands, expand background checks, mandatory reporting of lost and stolen guns, don't punish towns and municipalities that try and take steps to protect their people.
Don't punish gun owners who ride through towns.
All right, we have to have you guys back again. That's great stuff here. And the bottom line is that this is going to, how many states, Jonathan, just for listeners?
33.
33
have a stand your ground law.
Have what we're called some, do you agree with that number?
I think that's about right. I know that once Trayvon Martin killing happened, and in that time there were some that were kind of on hold.
Right.
You know, not everybody's been passing them. There are some that are thinking about repeal. So I think we'll see this more now in the news.
All righty. Thanks, guys, very much. Thanks for coming in tonight. Coming up on DomTime, today I wanted to share what the heck did the Pope say aboard a plane that has the daily news and everybody else in the world in such a stir. It involves gays and divorce and a couple of other things. Straight ahead on DomTime. Hey, the picture of the day for me was the new Pope, Pope Francis, in the front of an airplane looking like a presidential candidate, leaning over the seats and engaging worldwide media. And in that conference, the Pope said that gay priests are not for the Pope to judge. They may be gay as long as they're not practicing, actually engaging in anything, and be fine inside the church. And boy, the media has just exploded with that. They can't get enough of this Pope and what they think he's saying. I don't think he's leaning toward gay marriage or anything else. I think he's just striking a different tone of the Catholic Church, what they've always taught, and he's reaching out to people without hostility or venom or anything else. Even divorced Catholics who may in the future be able to receive communion, even though they violated something that the Church is very firm on. I'm looking forward to Pope Francis, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow night at 7 p.m. here on DomTime.